finally got the opportunity to go on one of these excursions that BAL arranged. We're only in Senegal for like 10 days, so this might have been the only day I actually had off. A few other players from my team were supposed to reach, they were supposed to come, but it seems like they must have slept in. I guess the game before must have had these guys tired and they agreed to do something they couldn't live up to. So now I'm the only player on this trip amongst all the amazing staff and coaches and referees, so let's see how this goes. So I'll let our tour guide tell you what's on the menu today.
My pets. Yeah, we have 20 minutes to get on the island. So this is a private ferry, alone. We're gonna pick up there and bring us back. So we take our time. When we get there, we're gonna visit the slave house to see the door of no return. Walk around the island and get having a lunch there and be back. Okay? Okay. Yeah. You're welcome.
Yo, slave house, the door of no return. Yeah, so I'm pretty intrigued at this point. Prior to the trip, I had no knowledge of Goree Island or any of what was about to take place. I just got a brief summary of what it was, and I was interested. I find history in general pretty fascinating, and Black history even more.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little out of place to be the only player out here right now. All staff, just one player. I don't like that. You guys are cool though.
So arriving to the island was cool. We were getting good vibes from the locals. They were playing music and stuff. And they directed us to an area where our tour guide could give us more of a lengthy explanation of Goree Island and things we're about to run into.
So guys, you give me opportunity first to welcome you back home, Goree Island. This island is very small by size but big history. So 900 meters long and 300 meters wide. 1,800 people live permanently here now. 1,200 Muslims, 600 Christians. But we got a lot of Europeans who live permanently on Goree. But the only activity is tourism. Now Goree protected by UNESCO like a World Heritage Site. Never been changed. You see the colors and the architectural. Even your private houses, you're not allowed to do any change. So Goree was the most important transit center of slaves in West Africa. 20 million coming from all along the West African coast, transited on Goree and went to America, Cuba, Brazil, Haiti, West Indies and United States during 350 years. Why Goree particularly? Because the location. Because you can see geographically talking, the Senegalese coasts are very closest to America. The beginning was a volcanic area. They built all houses with those black stones you see around, call them the basalt. But the Portuguese, first European to set foot this island of Goree in 1444. But that time, no population here. There were just some fishermen from the mainland. After fishing around, they should dry the fish all day long and evening they leave back. They first called this island Beer Island, B-E-E-R, like a beer. But beer was some plant with some hallucinogen fruit was on Goree. Now no more here, but a lot in the mainland, because if you eat a lot that fruit, so you see some pink elephants. But today, no more. But African problem is starting when Europeans discovering America by Christopher Columbus, 1492. So flowing the development of different plantations like sugarcane, alcohol, cotton, tobacco, and the mines. They first sending some Europeans there to work on the plantation, but very hard work, and the climate was very, very strong for them. And the Indians was the local people in America. Indians are not so strong. They should exploiting them a lot, and the Indians should dying a lot. So now to free the Indians, one Mexican archbishop called Bartolome de las Casas used to say black people didn't having a soul. To get up to heaven, you have to treat them like slaves. That is the first idea of slave trade promoted by the church. Because automatically, the King of Spain signing the authorization to those Europeans officially and legally to start the slave trade here. Mean the Atlantic trade. It was in 1536 that the Portuguese started to build the first house of slave of Goree Island. And step by step, Goree becoming the most important transit center in West Africa because just the location. But now, all houses we can see on Goree facing the ocean used to be houses of slaves. There were 28. So the one we're going to visit now is one of the last built by the Dutch in the 18th century. It's the only one chosen by Senegalese government like a symbol. Because the particularities of houses, they have some door on the seaside called the doorway of no return. Why this name? Because one step after the door, the meaning was bye-bye Africa. But today, we are opening the door of return just to give you opportunity to come back home. The meaning is we are on time on reconciliation and forgiveness without any discrimination, just to try to find solution to free humanity who are captivities around the world. That's why for us, you are not just like a visitors, but in a pilgrimage of this African sanctuary, witness of lot of suffering and humiliation. Millions of our people deported from different parts. And today, we are on time on reconciliation without discrimination. So that's why for us, not as a visitors, but in pilgrimage. The biggest genocide a human being never knows, and the biggest exodus. And we get a meeting with the curator inside the house of slaves. We're going to be alone. Yeah, because now it's time for others. But when they will close it, we get there noon, and they're going to open it for us, and we get opportunity to visit that house because it's the more important on Goree. So once again, welcome on Goree.
That's what I was talking with
Okay, so next he brings us to this church that was initially used as a slave house, but now it has been inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And UNESCO being United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization.
That's quite a mouthful.
This is an agency that is aimed at promoting world peace.
Okay.
Cause I got you, babe. Nobody around us here together. Nobody don't matter, no.
So I can give you opportunity to have a quick look inside. If you want to cry, you can do it. And don't forget to cry for me.
By a local artist who is sand painting. This is quite fascinating because he's explaining all the different types of sands he uses, and this art form is specifically pretty big in Senegal. I've actually never seen sand painting before, but I thought this was quite cool, and him pretty much making this cool thing like right on the fly.
We're near the Pink Lake, very famous for the agriculture.
Sable marron, du désert aussi, c'est du sahélien aussi.
That is the desert of Sahara in the north part. Yeah, Senegal, Mali, Niger, Sudan, Chad, what we call the Redlands.
Et volcanique, le sable noir, vers l'aéroport, monument de la Renaissance.
The black one too is from the volcano, near the first airport where you get the big monument of African Renaissance monument.
Voilà, donc on a plus de 24 couleurs de sable parce qu'on fait des mélanges comme la peinture, couleur par couleur,
They can
et
mix.
obtenir d'autres couleurs. C'est ça qui nous permet d'en avoir jusqu'à plus de 24 couleurs.
24 because sometimes different colors mix and give you some other colors.
Voilà. Et là aussi, on va dessiner avec la colle.
The glue, he gonna grow because it's the sap of the baobab tree. We're gonna show you some baobab. We get and more explanation. The sap of the baobab mixed with Arabic gum. Yeah, no impulse. They will be a self-choice. But they're gonna start from darkest here to the lightest, opposite of normal painting.
Voilà, presque fini.
Yeah.
Et là maintenant, on doit faire des projections.
Now start to project.
Donc, du plus foncé au plus clair, contrairement à la peinture.
Yeah. You have to try to look well because don't say it will be a black magic. Huh? No, it's not black magic. It's real. And not like a Chinese stuff again. It's all used from natural stuff from Senegal. It's like cooking sauce. You have to keep the ketchup, the mayo, and put just a little bit the hot pepper. We call it in Senegal, goes slowly. Because Senegalese hot sauce, wow.
I love that.
Hey,
Voilà, maintenant il faut le secouer un peu.
now, yeah.
On enlève et
Now it's
Wow, look at this guy.
You see that?
They love me.
let's see
Yeah.
this side.
What you be
Donc là,
wow.
ça reste là où il y avait la colle.
Now, because the sun stand only where he's putting the glue. Yeah.
Okay, so after he was done his demonstration, they brought us to his art studio where we were able to take a look around, and we also had the opportunity to see some of his other work and buy anything if we wanted to.
He can write his name. So get access and move around. Because you have someone behind you. Yeah. You can choose the jealous. Wow. Inside, that is positive face. Yeah. When you take picture, take what you get, that is the best for you. Yeah. I can. Yeah. And don't cut my hair, please.
Okay, so now we're at the place I've been really wanted to see, the slave house with the door of no return. And I'll tell you this whole experience is very eerie and uncomfortable, if you might say. We actually had people there that were actually crying, obviously being sad for the actual purpose of this door. So basically, it lives up to its literal meaning. Once you leave this door, you are a sold slave and you do not come back, and you go to whoever bought you. It's sad walking around this whole house and seeing all the cells and seeing how small a lot of these areas are, where they're stacking up 30, 40, 50 slaves in one area. But there's a curator there, and he explains in more intricate details of certain aspects of the slave house.
Today we have to keep in mind that finally slave houses constitute the starting point of the destruction of the African family structure. Just because the destination of the slaves was depending on the buyer. For example, father could be sent to Louisiana, mother to Brazil, children to Haiti. The separation was total. And very close, the next one corresponds to the former cell reserved for temporarily unfit. It was for men under 60 kg. Because the 60 kg was the minimum weight required for a man. That is why for many of them who don't reach 60 kg, usually they put them inside the cell in order to feed them like geese. And they feed them with a kind of beans, so-called in Senegal, nyebe, after 3 months. And 3 months corresponds to the duration of the stay for slaves. Because usually it corresponds to the time taken by boats to come from Europe to here. If they don't reach 60 kg, they didn't go to America, but they sold them in auction. And they stay locally as domestic slaves, particularly on this island or in St. Louis. And another style was that they put the rebellious slaves off because they use it as a punishment for slaves. No windows, just an iron door with bars. And the problem for the guards was not to know exactly how many captives it was possible to put inside at the same time, but it was how to shut the door after the captives. of because they consider captives not as human beings, but as a simple merchandise. And by this side, it corresponds to the same of because also reserved for the rebellious slaves. And today, the big difference is that we have two windows located on right and left. That is something very new. Because the two windows we have today was from the abolition of the slave trade. After 1848. 1848 was a date when the French abolished definitely the slave trade in France, in the French colony. And the last but not least is also this corridor with the door leading to the bottom. The door is the door of the voyage without return, because when a slave steps out from the door, for the slave it seems, bye-bye, Africa.
So this baobab tree, like baobab, I don't know, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, is really big in Senegal. It produces a fruit that has apparently really exquisite laxative properties. And he explains to us that you shouldn't drink too much of it because obviously it's not too good, but it's really big in Senegal.
Against the diarrhea and the whooping cough. The meaning is if you go to toilet anytime, you use 1-2 cups of the juice. So when you use more, constipation forever. No good. And you have to trust me. I know what I mean. It's very strong, has an emergency.
Constipation forever.
You said forever.
And we get the best of the best school in Senegal here, only for girls. Every year now, the government, they select the 40 best school girls who get exam to go to high school.
Okay, so one of the last places he brings us to is an all-girls boarding school named after Mariama Maba. I don't know, guys. I probably messed up her name. She's a well-known author and an advocate for women's rights. She's well known for her novels So Long a Letter and Scarlet Song. The school was founded by the first president of Senegal and was named after Mariama simply because of what she stood for, spoke, and wrote about.
School Mariama Ba, one of the famous Senegalese writers. That lady should contributing a lot for woman emancipation. Yeah, talk about the polygamies in Senegal. But now, today is Sunday. They're at home, so that's why you can see her. But evening they're gonna be back.
Well, that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my trip on Goree Island. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see everything. I believe we were only able to see maybe 1/3 of the whole island. But it was an enlightening experience, nonetheless. And I'm happy I was able to see this with my own eyes. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. I hope you guys like, subscribe, share, comment. You guys know all that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao.
Merci.